You are 3 days from any coastline you can name. The sky closed over at dawn. No sun, no stars, no line where the sea ends and the clouds begin. Just gray, folding into gray, in every direction you turn. The wind hasn't changed in hours, but you no longer trust it. Wind lies, waves lie. Out here, everything lies, except what you've learned to read. One wrong turn, and there is no version of this story where someone comes looking for you. No signal to send, no shore to swim to. Just open water, and whatever you carry in your own head. For most of human history, this is what it meant to leave land behind. You went in blind, or you didn't go at all. The Vikings went anyway, not once, not by accident, over and over, across the coldest, most unpredictable ocean in the world, and they kept arriving exactly where they meant to. They had no compass, no map worth trusting, no satellite blinking overhead. What they had was a system, built from the sky, the sea, and the birds, passed down until it worked, every time it had to. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly how it worked. Every Viking navigator started with the same tool, the sun. On a clear day, this was simple. Track where it rises, where it sets, how high it climbs at midday, and you have a fixed point to steer by. Sailors could hold a bearing for days this way, correcting course by nothing more than the angle of light on the water. But the North Atlantic doesn't offer clear days, not reliably. Fog rolls in without warning. Clouds sit low for a week at a time. And on a ship with no instruments, a hidden sun didn't just mean bad weather. It meant losing your only compass. This is where the sagas describe something stranger. The Solarstein, the Sunstone. Written accounts, including one describing a king consulting his lookout during a storm, mention a crystal that could reveal the sun's position even when the sky gave nothing away. In 1967, a Danish archaeologist proposed what kind of stone this might have been. Calcite, sometimes called Iceland spar. Held up to an overcast sky and rotated, calcite splits light in a way that can point toward the sun's hidden position, even through cloud. Decades later, physicists tested the idea in laboratory conditions and in ocean simulations. The results were striking. Under the right conditions, a calcite crystal could locate the sun to within a single degree of accuracy. That doesn't mean the case is closed. No sunstone has ever been recovered from a Viking ship. What survives is the saga's description, a mineral common across Scandinavia, and a modern experiment that shows the method could have worked. Whether it was ordinary practice or a rare trick known to a few, one thing holds either way. Somewhere between the stories and the stone, Viking sailors found a way to see a sun the sky was trying to hide. When the sun went down, the sky didn't go dark for long, not in a Viking summer, and not for a navigator who knew where to look. One star mattered more than the rest. Polaris, sitting almost still above the northern horizon, while everything else wheeled slowly around it. A navigator could find it fast, using 2 stars in the Great Bear as a pointer straight to it. And once you had Polaris, you had something better than direction. You had your latitude. Here's how it worked. The higher that star sat above the horizon, the farther north you were. Sailors learned the exact height it needed to hold for a given destination, then simply steered to keep it there. Too high, and you corrected south. Too low, and you pushed north. Reach the right elevation, and you stop chasing a point. You start following a line, a parallel, running east to west, straight to where you're going. Hold that line, and land finds you. This is what historians call latitude sailing. No coordinates, no chart, No instrument beyond a trained eye and a memorized number. Just a star, held at the same height, night after night, until a coastline finally broke the horizon. It worked. It also had a weakness. Above the Arctic Circle, in the heart of a Viking summer, the sky barely darkens at all. When there's no true night, there's no star to steer by, which meant the stars alone were never going to be enough. Take away the sun, take away the stars. There was still one thing a Viking sailor could read with nothing but his own body: the sea itself. Deep beneath the surface chop, a longer, steadier swell rolls through open water, pushed by weather systems far beyond the horizon, holding its direction for days at a time, no matter which way the local wind is blowing. Feel that swell through the hull long enough, and it becomes a heading, not a glance at the sky. A sense you carry in your feet. Norse sailors also came to know the sea's larger currents, the steady drifts that pulled warm water north toward Iceland and beyond, currents that could speed a ship along or quietly drag it off course if ignored. And when land was close, the water announced it before the eye ever saw it. Swells that had traveled clean and even out on the open ocean would start to bend and echo, refracting off a coastline no one could yet see. A trained sailor could feel that change happening beneath the ship. Half a world away, in the Pacific, Polynesian wayfinders were reading the exact same signals: swell direction, reflected patterns, the sea as a living chart. To cross open ocean with no instruments at all. Two peoples, oceans apart, arriving at the same discovery. The water itself was never silent. You only had to learn its language. There was one more instrument in the Viking navigator's arsenal, and it didn't need a clear sky or a steady swell. It needed wings. Certain seabirds never wander far from shore. Spot the right species circling a ship in open water, and land is closer than it looks. Sailors learned to read these birds the way they read the stars, not as omens, but as evidence. One story pushes this further than any other. Sagas describe a sailor named Floki, searching for a land he'd only heard of, out past the Faroe Islands with nothing ahead but open ocean. He carried 3 ravens aboard. Out on the water, he released the first. It turned back toward the Faroes, behind him, not ahead. Land in that direction, but not the land he wanted. He released the second. It circled the ship, found nothing better, and returned to his side. No help, no new direction. Just the same uncertainty, still hanging over the water. Then he released the third. It didn't circle back. It didn't return to the ship at all. It climbed, leveled off, and flew straight northwest, and kept going, until it vanished from sight completely. A raven doesn't fly toward nothing. Floki turned the ship and followed. What waited past the horizon became the land later called Iceland. A method built on patient, repeated observation, tested, this time, on a single bird's flight, and the discipline to trust it. No compass, no map worth trusting, no satellite watching from above. What Viking navigators had was attention. The sun tracked across a full day, a crystal, held up to a sky that wouldn't cooperate. A star, kept at the same height, night after night. The pulse of a swell, felt through the hull, long before land came into view. A bird, trusted to fly toward something the human eye couldn't yet see. None of it was magic. All of it was observation, repeated so many times it became instinct, then passed down, voyage after voyage, until it carried entire families across an ocean that owed them nothing. We live surrounded by devices that do this thinking for us now. A dot on a screen, always right, never questioned. But there's something worth remembering in how the Vikings did it instead. paying close enough attention to the world that it told you exactly where you stood. If this changed how you look at a foggy morning or a cloudy sky, hit like. It helps this channel keep telling stories like this one. And tell me in the comments, what's one thing you still know how to do the old way, without a screen to check it? Before you had a system for finding your way at sea, you needed the courage to leave shore in the first place. If you haven't seen it yet, check out What Did Vikings Do Before a Dangerous Voyage to see what came before every crossing like this one.